Is the biggest long-term sports card arbitrage looking us right in the face, hiding right under our nose? Let's talk about this, guys. Hello to all my sports card collector, investor, all my collectibles friends out there in the universe. We have made it to Saturday. It's the weekend. It's fall. It's football season is starting back up. It's happening, guys. It is happening. As you can see, I'm pretty excited for the weather to kind of cool down a little bit and to get into the season. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button, the like button, the notification bell, little tappity tap on the notification bell. We would appreciate it. The channel is growing and we are happy that you are here. So stay with us. Guys, I've been researching. I have been looking into a lot of the data, as you know, and I am going to speculate here today on what I believe to be a great long-term sports card arbitrage. I might be right. I might be wrong. Again, we're talking long-term here. We're not talking about 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months. We're talking like 20 years down the road. We're going to break down some examples. We're going to look at some numbers, and I'm going to just kind of talk through this with you. It is, drum roll. Do we have that sound effect? I don't think that we do. All right. Low production here, guys, low production. Vintage football cards. Vintage football cards. Now, I know what some of you are going to say. Yeah, but Dustin, you like to collect vintage football cards. Yes, I am kind of somewhat a homer for vintage football cards. My first love of sports cards was football cards. It was 89 Pro Set. It was 89 Score. It was 1990 Pro Set. It was all that stuff. It was football cards when I was a kid. And when I was a kid, back when I started in 87, 88, the big focus was baseball cards. You had basketball cards and football cards that were kind of bursting onto the scene a little. A lot of it had to do with Beckett magazines coming out that were kind of showcasing. There was Beckett football, Beckett basketball to go along with baseball. And I think that did help kind of develop the interest in basketball cards and football cards when really it was historically baseball cards that everybody was interested in and heavily collecting. And so that was kind of the dawn of this stuff. Not to say that they weren't printing out football cards. It's just that people were not collecting Joe Namath rookie cards the same way they were looking for Mantles and Willie Mays, etc. And in many ways, this hasn't changed. Basketball cards have ascended, and while football cards have certainly gotten more popular, it still lags way, way behind baseball and basketball cards even today. So it's interesting, and that's where I look at, I don't necessarily see, football cards taking over basketball or baseball cards, but could it be possible that they could be on an even playing field, be as popular as basketball and baseball cards down the line? So we're going to look at some of the vintage stuff, some of the key cards, not all of them. We're going to look at some of the more important cards. We're going to look at some of this data here and just talk through this. All right, a biggie in the football card world is the 1975 Topps Walter Payton rookie card. And I do have this card in a PSA 6. I've got one copy of this card. This is kind of interesting. So you've got in a PSA 10, the population is 52 for this card in a PSA 10. I actually saw one of these a few months back at the Dallas Card Show. It was an amazing card. There's not a lot of these, obviously, 52 of them out there. In total, you have 9,529 of these graded so far. And in a PSA 10, the last sale was in June at $73,000. So $73,000 for a PSA 10 copy of this card. But this is a top 5 most important football card ever. So for a PSA 10 to be at $73,000, yes, it is a lot of money, but it's all relative. How does it compare to baseball cards and basketball cards? Next up, some would say this guy is the GOAT, Jerry Rice. He is definitely the GOAT wide receiver. It's Jerry Rice's 86 Topps rookie card in a PSA 10, population 60. And this card right in the same boat at $75,000 sale at the end of August, a recent sale of $75,000. Total graded for this card, 23,228. A lot of this card has been graded. I've got one of these in a PSA 7. Fairly common to find these in a 7 and even an 8, but still, you just don't have many copies of the 9 and the 10. So 7s and 8s can be had at a fairly reasonable price point, and it's an iconic football card. And this card always will be. That 86 Topps with kind of the green kind of tiger stripe there on the side. That bordering is iconic. There's so many Hall of Famers in that 86 Topps set. Bobby Hebert, also QB for the Saints, is a rookie in that set. Not a Hall of Famer, but the man nonetheless. Anyway, I'm getting off track talking about the Saints. The Jerry Rice rookie card is one that will always be wanted. It's always going to be iconic. And the PSA 10 in that condition at $75,000. Another biggie, Joe Montana rookie card, 81 Topps. Population 108 in a PSA 10. And this card did get up to about $80,000, $90,000. Currently, though, you have sales in the $40,000, $44,000 range. It's come back down. And this was as of August 9th. And again, 108 in a PSA, 108 of these in a PSA 10. These are kind of fringe vintage. I know some people will say, 86 Topps, Jerry Rice, 81 Topps, Montana. That's not a vintage card. And I hear you. It's kind of fringe. It's 80s, but I'm also trying to talk to kind of that younger audience that thinks that like 1990 is vintage. Like my daughter, my 8-year-old will say, remember Dad, back in the old days, like the 80s and 90s. That really kind of cuts me a little bit when she says that. But for somebody that was born in in 2013, the 80s and 90s was a long time ago. So we're going to kind of count these into the vintage cards, but also I'm doing that because these are important football cards. All right, next we'll go back in time a little bit to true vintage. Johnny Unitas rookie card, 1957 Topps. I did pick up a copy of this in a PSA 4 at the National. I was excited to get one. 3,200 of these in total have been graded so far. There's actually not any PSA 10s. There are not any PSA 10s of this card. There are 8 in PSA 9. And these are kind of interesting because the last sale in a PSA 9 goes back to October of 2018. And it was at $90,000. $90,000 in October of 2018, before kind of the sports card boom that we've seen over the last couple of years. And we see a pattern with this. So I'll go through a few of these cards, and it's a similar deal. So why, whereas we haven't seen high end, or new record sales for these particular cards, in part it's because they haven't been on auction. You haven't seen kind of the higher end, the upper echelon of these cards at auction, which is kind of interesting. So that's the Unitas. No PSA 10s and only a handful of PSA 9s. Jim Brown rookie card, 58 Topps. Same story. No PSA 10s on the population report. 5 PSA 9s. 5 PSA 9s. And you had the last sale at $336,000 in 2017, guys. So 4 years, pre the sports card boom. I can't imagine what one of those would go for now, but I have to assume it's more than $336,000. Obviously, we don't know until it actually gets into an auction and sells. But 8 PSA 9s exist for that 5 PSA 9 Jim Brown rookies exist, and 0 PSA 10s. Joe Namath rookie card, 65 Topps. Guess what? No PSA 10s exist on the pop report. 5 PSA 9s, just like the Jim Brown rookie card. And this one sold back February 2018, again, pre-pandemic, at $264,000. There have only been 1,405 Joe Namath 65 Topps rookie cards that have been graded thus far. Very scarce, you could say. Next, an all-time great Cowboys QB, Roger Staubach rookie card. This is from 1972 Topps. I do have a couple of these actually in a PSA 6. Don't have any of these in the high grade, the higher echelon, but I've got a couple in a PSA 6. In PSA 9, you've got 50 of these in a PSA 9, and you've got 2 PSA 10s. In a PSA 9, you had a last sale in February at $15,000 of this year, and in total, you've got 3,217 of these have been graded in total. Again, you just don't have a lot of these out there. So when we're talking about scarcity, that's where a lot of people will go back to vintage, because it's like, if you want something that's truly rare, there's literally, 3,200 of these that have ever been graded. If you look down the line, on this list, you've got the Jerry Rice rookie where you've got 20,000 plus, the equivalent of a PSA 10 Zion, or a Prism, or a PSA 10 Luka Doncic. You've got, 23,000 in total Rice rookies, and he's only got one rookie. He doesn't have 50 different variations or more of rookie cards. So we're talking one card of a rookie card, and there's 23,000 for the Rice, which, yes, that is a lot. It's kind of like when we talk about the Jordan rookie card. There's 30,000 plus that have been graded in total. So it's not a scarce card, but it's relative. He's only got one rookie card. He's got the sticker as well, but that's kind of where that's where the vintage folks will kind of argue with the modern folks, etc. Hey, you got to look at some of this vintage stuff, and it makes sense if you really kind of dig into it. Terry Bradshaw rookie card, another one. I think I've got a PSA 6, and then I've got an SGC 6.5 in the tux of this card. A Terry Bradshaw 71 tops. This one is tricky because there's a red border there to where, that the edges, the corners, if they're not in good shape, it shows up on this card. And this one in particular, there are 3 PSA 10s that exist, and there are 20 PSA 9s. And again, it's just so condition sensitive with a lot of these cards, but with the red border on this one, it'll, if you've got issues with it, it'll show up in a hurry. So this is a very tough card to get in a grade, in a top grade and a high grade. Bradshaw, obviously multi Super Bowl winning QB with the Steelers. Did he win 3 or 4? He's got at least 3. I think he's got 4. I'm pretty sure he's got 4 Super Bowl championships. He's still hilarious as an analyst, so he's still relevant. Kind of the same way that Charles Barkley is on the NBA side. Terry Bradshaw is an actor. He's just kind of a relevant guy in culture. So this card, and again, the look of this card is awesome. The thing with vintage is you're really kind of digging into the history. It's the time period. What was going on during that time? There's kind of like an antique feel to some of these cards where almost like if you're antique shopping, there's that historical relevance with a lot of these cards that adds a coolness factor if that's what you're into. And I know that some people are just going to collect the players that are playing now. Totally fine. And I get that. Collect what you like. All I would say is just, take a look at these, take a deeper dive into vintage because it's a fun ride if you can get into it and really kind of appreciate that history. With the Bradshaw, the last sale in September of 21 for a PSA 9 was $25,000. A recent sale here, and 3,643 of this card have been graded in total at this time. So it just shows you kind of these, while these cards were printed a lot, there wasn't a lack of printing. The ones that actually survived, and then the ones that are graded, survived in good shape, are just, they're more scarce than you would think, I think, in some cases. So guys, thank you very much for joining me here today and listening to my vintage football talk. And I've got a runner-up to this. So I know that, I'm talking about kind of my long-term game plan for vintage football. I'm excited about it. But then also the runner-up to this that I've been talking about on the channel as well is patch and autos for Hall of Famers, for kind of those big time players, those legends that are out there. And for example, I know I've showed this on the channel here, but it's a Namath numbered out of 5. It's Upper Deck inscriptions. Is this early 2000s? No, it's 2008. Yeah, 2008. But this card in particular was $250. It's already graded. It's numbered to 5. It's signed by a legend and not necessarily breaking the bank. And that's something where, especially if Fanatics is taking over, if they are taking over and starting their whole new Fanatics brand, and we're just not going to see kind of the exquisites and the national treasures and the Prism Silvers anymore, I do think that 20 years down the road that, this stuff is going to remain relevant. And of course, I'm speculating here. I'm predicting. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't have a magic ball. I don't have the almanac from the Back to the Future car. I don't have any of that stuff. I just look at a lot of the trends and I'm just guessing here. I'm just another guy talking on the internet. It's just another talking head on the internet. So definitely collect what you like, buy what you like. Don't listen to me. But it's fun to kind of make these predictions and then look back on it later. I might look back and be like, wow, I was way off. Samsonite, I was way off. Or, it might be like, I was onto something there. So guys, thank you very much for joining me here today. Have an amazing weekend. We've got football. The Saints are about to smash the Packers. I hope I'm not jinxing it. I probably am. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.